Hey y'all, welcome to Kat's Kitchen. I'm Kat, and my love language is food. Because so many of us share the same passion and love for food, I wanted to create a space where I can share my crafts. Cooking is basically my only hobby, besides watching sports and shamelessly indulging in reality TV. So I thought, since I already flood my friends and family with pictures of my food, why not open it up to everyone? My goal is to teach people how to make their favorite foods at home, learn from viewers about their own crafts in the kitchen, and build a community surrounded by food that we love. I'm not a professional, but that's okay. I wanted everyone to know that amateur cooks know how to whip it up in the kitchen too. I can't wait to share my crafts weekly with y'all, so stay tuned. And always remember, extra sauce on the side.
It's another episode of Opinionated Off Topic. Today I'm with Carlos Mojica, my lovely co-owner and co-host with Opinionated Media LLC. You're getting used to saying that. Still not still not ringing the bell. I'm Cam. We're with Kat. Officially head of PR, head of HR.
I call her HR in the group chat.
Everything. She's everything. Does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff for us. It's really been a blessing this year. Helped us out, and we want to introduce her to the platform. If you guys know, she's been around, but we wanted to dive into her story, learn more about her, and just chop it up with her. This is going to be the first episode of kind of our end of the year closing podcast with our intimate family members. So without further ado, let Kat introduce herself.
Well, when she told me happy birthday, I was like, thank you, HR.
You guys need it, but that's okay. My name is Kat. Catherine, actually. I go by Kat with my close friends and family, but Cam kind of took that on pretty early on. And I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, born and raised, and grew up here my whole life. Grew up in the same house I was brought home in, and then moved to Austin to go to the greatest university in the world. What starts here changes the world forever.
You know what I'm saying?
And never left. I definitely thought that. What was that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't do it on camera.
Yeah. I definitely thought I'd be going back to Fort Worth after my 4 years here, and just kept sticking around. So happy.
Great place to be.
Best place to be. Austin is obviously the place. We don't need too many more people moving here, but I love it, and I have no plans to leave. So.
What was life like in Fort Worth? What's the main differences between the two cities?
If you take Dallas and you take Austin and you put them together, you get Fort Worth. It's almost like a not miniature, because Fort Worth is one of the biggest cities in the country. But it's a little bit Nashville. You get the country vibes that maybe you don't get as much of in Dallas. But Fort Worth has its bougie parts too, don't get me wrong. But when people think Fort Worth, they think the Stockyards, and that's only 3 blocks worth of Fort Worth, and then we're so far removed from the cowboy boots and the hats. But we do definitely respect and love our cowboy boots. But Fort Worth, it's just a little bit smaller than Dallas, so we have everything we need. People tend to think that you live in Fort Worth, you're outside of Dallas, you're technically in the Dallas area. One of our slogans in a barbecue joint in Fort Worth is "Life's too short to live in Dallas," and I do believe in that slogan. I love Dallas, but Fort Worth is where it's at if you're going to be in DFW. But yeah, it's great. Grew up 3 blocks away from TCU. I can't stand TCU for many reasons, but because I was just surrounded by it my whole life.
How's it for you, being surrounded by it but not being a fan of TCU?
I mean, there's kind of irrelevant for so long. It was fun. We snuck into TCU games until high school. Get in for free. Just walk through because they just weren't anything. Yeah.
So basically when they joined the Big 12?
But the thing is,
before that too, it's when Utah, the biggest game, they've not always been good.
They have.
No, they have.
With Gary Patterson.
Let's think about Mountain West.
They were good then.
No.
Yes, they were.
Okay, they were good. That's why they moved over to the Big 12. They weren't always good. You didn't go like we are. We have a couple years between us, so
was there.
yeah, of course. But he was it.
Yeah.
So
they've always been like a good program. Though.
Good programs don't let people in for free.
Yeah, but they're good, but they're not like big though. So I feel like
They're good now, and they've been good for a good 15 years. I'm not saying that, but the first time I realized like, oh, this is cool, and I actually enjoyed TCU is when Utah played at TCU, and they had the college game day. It was the first time they ever had them there, and that was cool. And Andy Dalton was quarterback, just a little name, but I enjoyed it, but it was the fact that I spent every other weekend in the fall in Austin cheering on high school. I grew up a Texas fan my whole life. If you guys didn't already know, you two obviously do know that, but so I was just kind of removed from it a little bit too, the football aspect of it. But obviously, as your team gets better, the whole city's gonna rally around. And I think in my mind, I was just like, really, you guys are just not fans? Like, should have been cheering them on when they were just winning a couple games a season. But it didn't matter to me because I was in Austin, and occasionally went to a couple TCU games because we could just walk from my house. But I think it's just the aspect of. I mean, they're good now, and I can't really talk because our team struggled for the last 12 years. But at the same time, the history and the depth of the history and what we've been able to do as a program is unmatched when we put the two and two together. They've had our hand in it the past 12 years, but at the same time, act like you've been there, and they don't always do that, and so that's my...
Well, nobody ever does when they beat Texas.
Exactly.
It's a Super Bowl for everyone.
It is, and that's not to toot our own horn.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
But everyone already hates us.
I mean, he's an OU fan, and it's the same thing when they
beat
OU.
Exactly. It's the two are blue bloods, and there's not another school.
Everybody in the Big 12 hates us, like both of us.
Especially now.
Especially now because we somehow think we're entitled by going to the SEC, and to be honest,
I mean, that shit's gonna be lit, just from a fan's perspective. Like,
why would you not take it?
Our teams just playing those teams weekly, the atmosphere, then obviously it's just beneficial for us. We can go there and suck and bring all that money, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, we're two of the biggest names in college football for us not to be in the quote unquote best conference.
I mean, even when you're losing 7 games a year and you're still a topic on college game day, you're obviously something. And so when we're winning, they're talking about us, we're in their mouth. When we're losing, same thing.
Yeah.
And so obviously we've established ourselves well enough to be talked about, and that's fine. With winning and trophies and accolades, there's also going to come hate, and I'm okay with that. But I grew up with a lot of people talking smack, especially in my elementary school days. All the boys thought they knew more, and I just told them straight.
I mean, back in elementary school days, it was hard for them to talk.
Yeah, but you have the Aggies that always think they can talk, and so.
What can they say? In our lifetime, even now, there's just nothing they can say.
That's true.
I mean,
Literally since I've been alive, since you've been alive, like there's just nothing.
Yeah,
well, they can't.
Johnny Manziel. Okay.
But
that's it. Though.
Right.
Even then, it's just like you still went whatever.
I
They
get
didn't
it.
win the SEC.
Yeah.
Finished third when he was there.
Yeah.
I think
They won like
third.
11 games. One year he won the Heisman, and then the next year they won like 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So.
It's fine. I'm really not worried about anyone else. So. I can bring them up though. So.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Little
Yeah.
sister over there. They're struggling over there too, so they can't really say much either.
So are we. It's alright.
Not like them. They're a little different. It's a different category.
I think the standards too are a little bit different.
For sure. They
But-
definitely like try to like elevate themselves higher than like what they really are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But hey, I mean it's part of it.
So what got you into sports as much as you are? Like, did you play sports growing up? To be honest, I never really like even had this conversation
Yeah,
with you in general.
I did. So I don't think that there was a day.
Well, I know you're a little hooper.
I was a hooper. Starting point guard for the 18 middle school.
Mm.
Don't forget it, and I will show you proof. I didn't go into it in high school. I didn't even try. I don't know that I would have been the starting point guard in high school, but I didn't try because I was like, I don't have the height. I haven't grown since like 6th grade, and I just, but there was never a day where I was like sitting down on the couch and was like, I like sports. It just was what I was thrown into. My dad is a sports fanatic, and he is the biggest Texas fan I know. He gave us no choice. Some might call it brainwashing, and I'm okay with that, and I plan to do the same with my children.
No shot.
But that's within every family, though.
It is, but I think
you have very rare families are like, oh, well, they like this team. I don't want to be like them. I want to like somebody else. Like,
that's rare.
Majority of the time, it's like whoever your family likes, that's who you like.
For sure, but you have the people that wear the T-shirts that don't really care because it's like, oh, my parents got me this, I'm gonna wear it, and when someone talks to me, I'll be able to say I'm that kind of fan. That was never it. I've been emotionally invested in sports since I knew what I was watching. I was 3 months old in my first Texas game. I have probably missed a handful of home games since then due to
You have a pick like Sam Ellinger?
Do I what?
You have a picture like Sam Ellinger?
Oh,
she hasn't signed.
Plenty. I've got the I was 2 years old and wearing a Texas cheerleader uniform and trying to formulate, the hook and horn sign, probably something like that. But I was trying. No, but I loved it. I've never known a moment in my life where I haven't been just fully invested and loved it. But with the love of it comes the sensitivity and the emotions, and I'm definitely fully guilty of being super emotional about it and sensitive towards it too. For me, I don't really like to talk smack with people because I genuinely care for it. It's not like a team. It's not like Texas. To me, it's like the players, the people, and the same with every sport. But to answer your question, if I ever played sports, I did. I actually grew up dancing. I danced from 3 or 4 years old until I was 12. And then I got to the point where it was either going to go and do competition dancing, or you're just what's the point? You've already learned everything, so you either do comps or you just don't do it anymore. And with competition came Saturdays in the fall, and my parents sat me down. They were like, you can either do dancing competitions and you can do it competitively, and you're not going to go to Austin with us, or you don't do dance anymore. And it was a no-brainer. I liked dance, but not enough.
Yeah.
And then I played basketball growing up, like you said. I love basketball. It's to me, most fun sport to play. I feel like everyone can, be involved in it. But I didn't play for too long. I mean, I played throughout the YMCA years, played in some, hard select leagues that were far past my, friend group talent level. Not saying I was much better. I mean, we all were just kind of a bunch of white girls trying to play basketball, and we played with some girls that have been playing since they were 2 years old. I mean, that's it. And then played a little tennis in high school. But
Tennis is hard.
I do want to that's a sport I do want to
actually got two. I didn't tell you I got 2 rackets. So we're gonna
I
play.
might blow my knees.
No.
Every time I try to hit the ball hard, it just goes it doesn't go down.
Over the net.
No, mine goes straight in the air, it doesn't go down.
So
Or if it does go down, it's
Gotta volley it.
it's when I play tennis, I'm all muscle. What is it called, bronze, or brain or something like that?
You have no finesse.
No, you can play. I got us 2 rackets. You can use them.
Kill the ball.
Ping pong guy.
But it's essentially big boy ping pong.
Yeah, but with more movement for sure.
Yeah, it's more exercise. Can't just. But yeah, I mean that's basically it as far as my sports goes. I enjoy watching a lot more than I enjoy playing. It's okay.
That's usually how it goes for most people, so that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
So what was it like at your years at the University of Texas? What years were you there?
Longer than I needed to be, but I started in 2013. So it was the beginning of our really rough patch. I had Matt Brown for a year, and then we got Charlie, and then Tom was my last year, I believe. But aside from the sports part, going to University of Texas was everything I could have dreamed of it being. Obviously, it's a lot different of a college environment. You're in the middle of a really big city with not a lot of space. You're crammed basically next to downtown. But I met the greatest friends. I really think I was the luckiest person to have met people that I did and lifelong friends and family, essentially. But I lived on campus. Had a really great experience doing that. Went to West Campus for a year, then the Little North Campus for a couple of years. But UT's big and it's spread out and there's a whole lot of people. But the greatest part about it is the reason it is, arguably the greatest university in the world is because people from all over the world go there. Granted, a lot of my best friends were from Texas. You have people from all over, different countries, different states. But I just liked being a part of, it was a lot like where I went to high school and middle school. People didn't look like you. People didn't come from the same kind of backgrounds as you. And that's what's important. It's a slice of reality. And I wasn't shocked going into the real world.
I don't know if you remember the
conversation we're having in the group chat. Like, I think it was a week ago today. Excuse me. But we're talking about what universities would go to like play football. He said OU,
I said
Oregon, and somebody else.
And I think
I said
Ohio State.
Yeah, I said Florida, Texas, just because Florida's cool.
Yeah.
But then I said Texas because, for one, there's so much to do here, and
Yeah.
for two, outside of like school and sports, the opportunity is endless. And
Yeah.
then you just going to the University of Texas is
You
another.
get a lot more
Yeah,
than
you
just
get a
the
lot more.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something special about, and again, I'm biased
I
and
feel
I
like
was
in the USC are like this, like similar.
top
The
Yeah.
top
public
cities,
schools
just-
at least.
And like the opportunity,
Like
like the
the-
alumni.
Yeah.
The people you just have connections with.
And I'll
just 'cause
say-
you went there.
Yeah, and I didn't get in without like struggle. I
That's
mean,
hard.
I went to it predominantly really like my high school was highly ranked when it came to academics. We weren't really a sports high school or anything by that mean, but it was hard and I was like I made good grades. I maybe made a couple B's in high school total, but for the most part I was like
They gotta do something about that.
yeah, and it's hard,
There's
but I
a
also
problem.
understand why they do it. I mean,
There's another school here. I like that. It's called Westwood.
yeah,
So,
one of my best friends went to
Yeah,
Westwood.
and it's the same exact, like some of the
Yeah.
kids in the top 8% are smart enough to go to Texas, but
Right.
they can't because what was the top 5%?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it is now. When I went, it was like top 7 or 8.
Seven, yeah. Seven.
Yeah.
I know it's like something low, but
Yeah.
it's like,
And I was right on like the outside, like a little less than 1%
Because
to get the automatic.
there's people that you're smarter than that go to a school that might not be as smart, like as a whole.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
I mean,
they're
I-
the top like 3-2% at that school.
I knew that,
You'd be
too.
Like, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I knew that going into high school. I mean, it was something I thought of. My dad and I went to an open house of our rival high school in Fort Worth, where I had friends go as well. But my middle school didn't feed into that one, and my dad was like, "Hey, I mean, you do this, and you
are
go into the
y'all's
route."
district not like Dallas? Like,
And-
because it's in Dallas open
Yeah,
where
because
you
Dallas
just-
is
No.
open. That's
Yeah, we're
why
not
all
like
those
that.
damn high schools can just. That's
Yeah.
why they're all good. 'Cause
We're
they
not
just
like that.
recruit.
No, you are like zoned for your certain high schools, and you can try to go to there. You just have to do the whole camping out thing and like transfer in. So that was something that we considered. We went. My dad and I had a conversation. I was close to making that decision, closer than I probably would like to admit or admitted to my friends at the time, because I knew it was a straight shot. But I was like, for 4 years, leaving my friends that I've built relationships with the last 9 years to go to a different high school just to get in, why not, bust my ass to get there and do it. And I tried, but I also enjoyed my high school experience too, and I wouldn't change anything about it. But it was definitely difficult applying for UT, knowing that I probably wasn't going to get in, and that was my dream school. And there was another school in my mind that I was like, I could go there, because I wasn't going to enjoy it the way that I would. I mean, I knew nothing other than Austin.
What was your backup school, if you had?
I didn't have one. I didn't end up applying anywhere else. I definitely thought about applying to different schools, but there was nothing that I was considering. I told Cam that part of me, if I was going to go to a different school, I wanted to go to a school that was surrounded by sports.
Similar.
I already know.
But I looked at the application at Oklahoma. I just looked at it and I
I
thought,
wanted to win, right?
no, there's no part of it. There's no part of me that ever wanted to do that.
Be a champion today.
There's only one, thank God. But anyway,
Yeah, remember it. Go ahead.
anyway, I looked at it and I was like, I could get in here and not to talk crap or anything, but I had a lot of friends that grew up in Burnt Orange and then decided, well, might as well go here. And some of them did get into UT, so by any means. I mean,
Do they stay
Norman is
Oklahoma
a
fans?
great. Huh?
Did they become Oklahoma fans?
I had a lot of friends that became Oklahoma
they
fans.
switch?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, low key, but
To me, it is too. I can imagine. But also, they didn't grow up loving it like I did too, and it's really easy to switch over. But
It's a lot of shirt wearers.
there's a lot of shirt wearers.
That's what, like.
Even here, even in
Oh, for
Austin, even
sure.
people that went to UT.
That's.
I have friends I get annoyed with that try to talk, that literally have a degree from the University of Texas that try to talk football with me, and I'm like, you don't get it the way that I do, so I'd rather not even discuss it.
Yeah, because our homie Lon trying to flame me. He was like, I was wearing a Texas shirt when I asked him like,
yeah,
you like Texas or whatever. I was like, well, Darren, when we did the Alabama interview thing, and I was asked that guy, I was like, who you going for? Like, I asked him something about it. It's like,
You were like,
wearing a Texas shirt. Why did you ask
a
him that?
Texas fan.
Yeah, but like, I guarantee you, a lot of people there were there just for the environment. They just threw a Texas fan shirt on. Just
It
to
was
protect
funny.
the money.
It is funny watching it, but like I totally agree. Like it's
You just
definitely.
forget,
don't know.
I had on colors, so
Yeah, you
know,
did.
rep Texas, but I'm not putting a Longhorn on. But you know what I mean? I had it on
That's alright.
because we
He's had some long one on before.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you can throw a picture up if you want.
That's whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it was worth taking the time that I did. I just knew that like if I didn't get into UT, I was still coming to Austin.
Go to ACC.
I went to ACC. There were a couple girls that were older than I was that did the same thing, knew that they wanted to go to UT, and the dorm that I wanted to live in was a private dorm. It's technically on campus, but it's like literally across the street from campus, but it's off campus. So it's like private dorms are off campus. Essentially, it counts as a freshman dorm. It's filled with a bunch of freshmen. It counts whether you go to ACC, St. Edwards, or Texas. Mm-hmm. And so I applied to the dorm. I was on the list far before I even knew what my plan was. And that dorm is literally the best dorm on campus. You have a private chef, you have a maid on every hallway, a sonic ice machine, ice cream, frozen yogurt machine. It's quite the experience. We'll never have anything like that again. But I lived my freshman year. I lived my freshman year like I was.
The athlete campus or what?
It's far better than the athlete side of it, and they definitely need to fix that because you need to treat those athletes, extra nice. But
they do.
I mean, I've been in the athlete dorm, and it's right across from the stadium.
That's fine.
Not much to it. Your hallways are super narrow.
They don't need much.
And you have these like 7-foot, athletes walking through, like a duck in the hallways. We had it.
I mean, how much are you like in your dorm? Would you say?
Like as a D1 athlete, yeah.
I mean, as a D1 athlete, I don't know.
I mean a lot. You have more free time than you think. Like in college, you don't, but you do. It's weird. I mean,
I'm sure your free time is wanting to rest.
Y'all schedule was crazy.
yeah, it's the exact same thing. No, every level is the same.
Yeah.
Like from a scheduling standpoint, and then obviously you do something out of that, like watch one of your own, whatever. Most of the time when you go back to your dorm, you're either trying to sleep because they probably make you do mandatory study hall, especially if you're a freshman. So you have to do that, or you're gonna study in your room, or you're gonna be like with your boys like in a lounge area, and that's probably like the most thing that people like, lounge area, gaming. But at a D1 school, you got all that stuff at the locker room. So
Right.
You then again, they do make it now to where you don't have to even go back. Because
Yeah.
they have like all those beds and like those spaceship pods and all that.
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, it's
So-
nicer. San Jack is the main athlete dorm. So it's right across. Yeah, and then it's a lot nicer than Jester, which is I think one of the oldest dorms on campus. So they have it, like, for a dorm on campus, it's pretty nice, but they don't have it like the girls do. It's an all-girl dorm, too, that I lived in. So,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
But there were like hours, like, no boys in the hallways
check?
after 10 p.m. They have cameras, they see.
Okay, I'm just saying because like
And after
you know,
midnight
like,
on
there's those
weekends.
RAs like the RAs like
Oh.
wants to check and they think they don't do their job. We got a couple fires when I was in college, the RAs. So,
You what?
We got a couple fired.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
He also had his RA come up to his room like 3 times so he couldn't get in.
For what?
I
Oh.
think he might have lost his
He
key or
couldn't
something.
get in. He
Yeah.
was like irresponsible. I mean, we definitely were doing some stuff you shouldn't have been doing indoors. But that's besides the point. So going to school at University of Texas, you know, trying to get in and the struggles of getting in. What did you decide to study, and how was like your courses and stuff like that?
I changed my major a few times.
Wait, quick question.
Yeah.
Before you all go to college, if you change your major, do you have to pay more money or no?
No.
I mean, technically, yes.
I mean, yeah, because you're having to take
you're
different
probably gonna have
classes.
to be there longer because depending on what you switch into, you're not everything's gonna transfer over and apply to you getting into that. Like obviously you take your basics and stuff, but then after that, like after your first 2 years, the last 2 to 3 years is specifically degree focused, and that's when college like gets fun. Because that's when you're doing like actual, like for example, like I did like only accounting, finance, and econ classes. Well,
Rant real quick.
Bullshit.
I think that's stupid.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
how many kids know what the hell they want to do when they go into
Oh,
college?
and there's a reason I
So-
changed and I took longer than 4 years. I
Yeah,
mean,
so it's like, why should they be at
Most people
fault?
change.
Why should they be at fault and have to pay extra money for?
I think everyone should. Well, and here's the thing: if you change within your school, so I guess the bigger the university, the more like individual schools. I don't know how many schools you guys had
We
at
just had a
Lewis.
college. Like we had no like school bit. Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we all went to
colleges.
school,
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, I
the
have college
schools in-
liberal arts.
so- okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
like art. We're like a liberal arts school specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out.
So liberal arts.
Yeah.
That's like the most basic major, right? What's the most basic
No,
major?
I say business.
Business for sure, but business is like harder to like.
It is. It's really different. I mean, you
Degrees
saying
are-
that you had fun going into your accounting and stuff, to me that sounds like hell because numbers and that kind of thing were not my forte. Once I got into college, I loved it, you know, in grade school, but it wasn't my thing. I was more about like studying people and groups of people, which is why I ended up doing what I did. But I mean, yes, it does cost more when you have to change your majors. If you were to say I want to go from education to accounting, technically you're not paying, like, it's not like, all right, that's a fee. But then all your, you know, basic classes that count towards education may not all count towards your accounting.
Like your prerequisites, like you're gonna have
Yeah.
to take like
It's
for
a lot,
most business
yeah.
majors, you have to like standard business majors, you have to take like an introduction to accounting, finance, econ, like the layers of business,
That's so dumb.
and
Yeah.
then obviously you can, you know, specialize in one, which is what my dad told me. Like, if you're gonna go to school for business, like focus on a specific thing in business. Like, don't just go to school for general business because he said it's like a pointless degree.
Yeah, cause you were first going for.
It was this like degree plan that they changed after my freshman year, but if you had enrolled already as a freshman, you were still on it. But it was like engineering.
You're going for engineering.
It was engineering. It was like an engineering with a business like focus. It was like a weird like degree plan. They got rid of it, and I mean, I switched like right after my second semester of my freshman year. Like once I took introduction of financial accounting, that's what I knew. So I guess like when did you know? Like what did you go and study at first, or did you not know?
Honestly, I
Like, what did you
can't, to be honest, like kind of embarrassing, but I can't really remember what
fine.
I started out as. I can't remember if it was just basic government, because I thought about going to law school. I thought that would be what I wanted to do afterwards. By no means do I think that I'm like fit to be a lawyer, but I definitely have strong opinions and like passions of fighting for different issues and stuff, and I know that there's so much more that comes with that, and you do that, definitely without a law degree. But part of me thought that's eventually what I would want to do. Quickly decided I did not want to do that. I have a ton of educators in my family. I think it is the most underrated, underpaid, important job in the world is being an educator. I think that it's so much more. I mean, it's not only you're educating, but you're also raising children and kids and you know, like helping them with so many different things. I could go on a rant about that. So I thought about going into education, decided that that maybe wasn't the route I wanted to go to. I knew that eventually that could be something that I could veer off into later on if that was something I wanted to do. But all in all, after a few things mixing around, I decided to go with sociology, and that's what I went to UT for. So once I switched from ACC, some of my classes did transfer over, and I had some that did not, because it was a different degree. So I ended up going with sociology.
Is that what you graduated with?
Yes, and sociology is the study of groups of people. So I think that I learned, if I never do anything with sociology, like career-wise, I learned so much about life solely in like the classes that I took. And I think I had a lot of friends that said some of their favorite classes that they took were their, extracurricular classes that they had to take, and they were sociology classes. And they were like, by far, that was the most interesting class that they took, in school. So there's so much to study and learn about groups of people, socioeconomic statuses, religion, race, ethnicity, like so much. You learn so much about people. And it's great, and I think everyone should have to study and take those classes. So I'm really glad that I ended up with that, and even if I never do anything with it, I will always do something with it if that makes sense. It's kind of neat.
You got an HR job now, sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Which is kind of nice that, when this blows up, like, having that knowledge and stuff,
Yeah.
like, that's, like, you get to know, because, you can, like, kind of just, like, decipher why someone's doing this or
Right,
why
and
they're
I
acting
think
like this.
I think that's why we have a lot of discussions about it too.
Yeah.
Because I am so quick to someone may not mean something by the way that they say something or the way that they do or the way that they think, but there's always going to be someone on the other end of it. How are they going to receive that? And also, what have they been through? You've got to kind of think 2 steps ahead. What do you mean?
Because I feel like for everybody in general, it's hard to have serious conversations over text message or if someone's mad over text message, because the way you perceive it is completely, the way you say it is completely different from the way the person receives it.
Right.
So it can cause a bigger issue than what it is / was.
Yeah.
Is that, I'm assuming that happens a
Well,
lot.
it's like,
We've had that a few times.
but, it's also rhetoric, with email, working in
Yeah.
corporate America and stuff, someone, or through Teams or Slack or whatever message platform you're on, someone will say something through there, and you're like, yeah, that's kind of rude.
There's
you know what I mean? It's hard.
There's no tone.
Yeah.
You can
Because that's essentially what they made emojis for, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
But even then, emojis still don't
Some are sarcastic.
Yeah, they still don't do the justice of
Yeah.
in-person conversation.
Because for example, if someone's or if you're hey, can you do this for me or whatever, and they just say okay, okay, literally okay, that's it. You're damn.
Totally.
That's kind of dry, but they could just be an older person or a person that's oh, I just said okay, but they didn't mean it like that. So it's
Or you could have, and then you could kind of turn it, and we've had
sure.
conversations like that before. You'll just say okay, and then I'm what do you mean by that? You're I was just saying okay to
I
it.
was yeah.
But sometimes there's a little bit of
yeah.
attitude of it,
I mean, we all have our own faults of saying stuff a certain way, but we don't mean it like that. It just comes out that way.
Yeah.
Because I do that all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I even catch myself. I'm I didn't even mean to say it like that.
I think that kind of goes more with psychology when it comes to
Yeah.
you're individually looking at how someone perceives it, and that's the difference between psychology and sociology. I don't want to be horrendous if I say this wrong, but the main difference, just to break it down, is psychology is the study of a person, an individual, and sociology is the study of a group of people. So you can study the dynamic between two people's conversation, but I'm always going to take a text message probably the worst way, and then
I think everybody's.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think everybody. It's just hard to gauge and read.
Yeah.
But so graduate, start doing your thing,
Yeah.
and then along comes camp, and along comes the OP boys.
Yeah.
What was it like just? I guess first seeing this, and then meeting everybody and seeing how everybody was because for us we knew Zach, we knew CJ, we know Al, we're all close together, so we all know each other. So it's you're the first outsider, I would say, because even then I still knew JG because I worked with him.
And I met him a couple times, going out and stuff. Yeah.
But everybody in the group essentially just knows each other.
Yeah.
We'd be friends outside of this.
Yeah, and then you're just kind of a stranger coming into it. So what was it like meeting the group and kind of seeing that we, I guess, share the same passion as you do, it's sports wise and
Yeah, it was a progression. I feel when I first met Cam, one of the first things he said was I have a podcast, and I was really, I didn't really know anyone that had a podcast, but definitely listened to podcasts. So I was oh, that's cool. Sent me a few. I watched them. I was like, all right, like they took it seriously.
Should have felt bad, huh?
Nah, I don't
No,
know.
it wasn't.
I don't
Which
think.
ones were
Well, no, I think I remember because I sent like Braxton,
That was a good one.
Caymans. Those are good, and then I think I sent her like Kelly or something like a girl.
To be honest, you sent me
Really?
one, and I just went to the page and I started watching.
Yeah.
And
Kelly
she, like,
was
caught
like
up.
good, but it wasn't like the interview, like the whole talking was good, but like the looks of it didn't look good.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Not how it does now.
to be honest, I didn't really have super high expectations at the beginning. You know, like I was like, all right, this guy says he has a podcast. Let's see what it's like. He sent it to me. I'm trying to impress him. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch him and give feedback and see and show him I care, that kind of thing. And then I was like, okay, damn, like they actually like are taking this serious. They have microphones. They have a setup. They actually have guests. They're taking the time to really ask questions that are specific to that person. They actually care. It's not just like, let's get this done, post it, and then act like we know what we're doing. You knew what you were doing. But obviously, you look at the ones I watched then, and now, it's crazy.
Oh, for sure, and even.
Even like the first episode you guys ever put out, from like the one, I mean, you guys weren't consistently putting out.
In the damn recliner.
Yeah. I mean, I scrolled down that far. I mean, what? We met August of last year, like end of the summer, or like late July, August of last year.
Throwback
And
Thursday.
Huh?
I said that's like a throwback Thursday clip.
Well, I
Yeah.
laugh because I just look at like our old posts. I'm like, man, that shit was so bad.
But it
Posted
was-
that?
but
it's cool.
honestly-
It's also cool to see though.
You
Even,
guys
like,
took the
on
time
IG
to
too.
care. I mean, yeah, but you didn't like just like BS it. Like you really were like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. We're not just gonna put our phones up and just talk into a phone, which there's nothing wrong with that. But you thought, let me actually like.
Fun fact:
We did,
I don't know
yeah.
how many people know this, but our very, very, very first podcast we shot was on a phone, and my old house.
Well, it's not out, right?
It's not out.
Yeah.
And we don't have it.
But how
so
would
we
you-
were recording, and in the middle of the recording, the screen just went
It
black.
was like a YouTube.
Yeah,
Like, it was like a
lost
YouTube
it.
live.
Yeah.
It was before we had a logo. Before
Yeah.
we had any equipment. I think I was back for like spring break or something. So we were like, let's just fuck around. And
Right.
see.
But look at how
lost it.
quickly you believed
Yeah.
in yourselves,
Yeah.
and you're like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna commit to it. And that's, I think, what impressed me about it is I was like, during the time you get a microphone, when you could just do the audio on your phone, you could just put up a webcam and just talk to each other. So I think that was and then I just kept watching more and more, and then there were the individual. I know you were you had just been in North Carolina, right? And so I got the lowdown, and Cam kind of informed me on
You
stuff.
caught
So.
up pretty quick. So
I got-
like,
yeah.
You pretty much binged it. Like
Yeah, I just would put it on my laptop
Yeah.
at work, and also like just watch it. And I was like, I felt like I got to know you guys kind of through. I mean, I knew Cam, but I was also like,
Did I meet you before you watched mine or no?
no.
So that was the first time you like.
Yeah, it was honestly kind of funny. I was like, all right, like it was. I mean, actually, before Kim and I like officially met, I saw the podcast because when we like started talking,
I think I sent her mine too, just so to get her to get to, because I could tell her, but I was like, I'd rather you could just listen to it too.
yeah, it was cool. It was
Yeah.
cool. It's kind of nice. And then I remember, I think I met you probably around like a little bit after your birthday last year, so November. Because I came over here to watch a Cowboys game or something.
That was the playoff game. That wasn't the
No,
first time.
it wasn't a playoff.
No,
It's
she
playoffs.
came before playoffs. She.
It was like November.
I met you after Thanksgiving.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because that's when you first started. I think you came over.
Okay, I didn't come over
You
here
came
for a
over
while.
on
We
like
just hung out.
just a random ass night. I think like you
It
finally.
was after Thanksgiving because
You came home from work.
probably. I know it was for sure after Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
Well, yeah. So then I
Yeah.
did meet you after that
Yeah.
because I guess I had known Cam for a few months at
Yeah.
that point, but I had never been over here. It's like the first time I came over here, just CJ was here and you weren't. But
you met CJ and then you'd met.
I met
all
a
of us.
lot of
And-
people the
And
first
then
few
I mean, the
times
first
here.
couple of times like you came over here, we weren't even doing any content. We were just kind of hanging out. I remember that one time we went to the Domain.
yeah, that was
like
Christmas.
December.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like later.
when you got
It was
COVID
time.
apparently. After that.
Well, I tested positive.
My test also said
Mine
positive,
said
so let's
negative.
not quote
I
that
went
because,
too.
huh?
I went and got tested and mine said negative.
Yeah, because you had it at Thanksgiving because we were sick on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, bro, mine said positive, so
Yeah.
But
we both got it and also we get it from.
But I mean, it's cool, like, showing you the podcast early, at least, like, you kind of get into it, because, I mean, we're the same way, right? Everybody's like, oh, we have a podcast, we started a podcast, and, like, no shade to anybody, like, do your thing, chase your dreams, like, we're trying to do that, but that's how we always were. We were like, if we're going to do this, and even now, like, yeah, we kind of lack sometimes, but that's why, especially now that we're, like, moving as a business, like, everything has to be, like, sharp and on point, and we're going to be taken seriously, and that was how it was from the beginning, like, getting to where we are now.
I apologize for earlier.
What happened?
What you want me to do?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I have higher expectations for you guys, but you're
apologize.
meeting those, and that was just a simple.
We'll be better. We'll be better. We'll be better. There's no excuse. We actually every guest is simple. But I mean, it was one of those.
I'd rather me than someone else.
Yeah,
we live and learn.
That's true. But it's one of those things too. Like, I mean, me and Carl's always talked about it. Like, it's always been like a set plan. Like, we didn't just decide to just up and do a podcast, and then because I think we did it like that, we'd probably not do it like how we are.
Yeah.
Now. And
no, there's a lot of thought.
You know, it was one of those things since we're already spent like so much money that we don't even know about. But us getting the 4 mics, the mixer, I'm pretty sure those were the first purchases. For 4 mics and mixer, we got the little mic stands, and we got these like a month later.
I've seen it. I told you. I telling him, I was like, I think it's so important to like make note of what you've spent, what you've done, and like how important this alone is right here. So like take pride in what you've spent and what you've invested in, because it's getting you where you're at right now, and it's gonna carry you.
I'm glad we have these.
Yeah, oh for sure. These are way and it's good to see too, like the growth, because now we're like planning on obviously upgrading, and we want to continue to get more and more equipment because we want to get a studio one day. But it's cool because we've had these for 3 years, and yeah, it'd been nice to get the shirts off Rip. But for us, it's like, oh, like we deserve to get these because we bust our ass using these.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's cool.
These are bad.
They're not bad. No, they're not bad.
What
It's
do you
not the
mean?
shirts.
Yeah.
These are really good. They're just not the shirts.
Yeah.
But yeah, just us taking it serious. I think like just for you to like see that, and I mean, it's just different when you like see like, oh, okay, someone's starting something. You're like, oh, okay, like they got the setup, they got lights, it shot well at the time. It's getting better, obviously, but
What was on the wall when we first came?
The 5 was on the wall, but there were probably a third of those signatures.
But any of
Some of it was, but it wasn't as full. You've definitely added
This
things
wasn't there.
to the area. That was
because I got that for Christmas. Yeah.
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 Is that up?
Yeah, I think Jordan was, because I remember Cam saying to me, like, I think this is nice, right? I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, not everything, but there was a good amount on the wall.
We do have some dope stuff.
It's gonna be cool too. I think when we get the new studio, we'll probably like restart. I think.
We have like unique stuff.
Memorabilia.
Yeah, like that football.
They're all
I couldn't tell
collectibles.
you like how many people have that football.
Which is what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
But we wanted it to be collectibles.
That Roger
It's
Clemens
specific.
painting,
Yeah, it's sick.
the Nolan Ryan thing down, like
Yeah.
we like that stuff.
I know, I love everything in here. You guys have done a good job.
Thank you. So meeting us, and then get to hang out with the gang all the time, and
Yeah, I guess I didn't even acknowledge the rest of the guys, but I will say, just I'm sure we'll get into it later, but just seeing the progression of everything now. But I do want to shout out you guys. Your friend group is incredible. There's a lot of perks to being with Cam, but like having you guys and the friend group and the family that everyone has here, it's pretty incredible, and it reminds me a lot of my friends from home. So you guys obviously all grew up here, and so you get to have your friends and your people here that have stayed in Austin. I have a lot of friends back in Fort Worth that I feel like would be the same way if I did live there, but a very welcoming group and just same passions and very driven, and it's been cool to see not only you guys grow, but everyone else and the development of it all. But
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm sure we'll get to that later.
Definitely a lot changed.
Yeah.
In the year.
But it has been cool. I just need
Yeah.
to shout out the other guys
For
because
sure.
they're amazing.
Shout out again.
I love them.
Yeah, show the game.
But I guess just being around us, seeing what we do, seeing what the whole other gang does, you have a hobby of your own that you like to do.
I do, just a little
and,
thing.
and you do love to cook, and you do make some great dishes.
I try.
When and how did the whole cooking thing for you come along?
I feel like there's nothing super special to what I love. Wasn't like there's an exact moment, but as a lot of families do, like your gatherings are around food, and It's something that kind of brings people together. My grandmother on my dad's side, well, everyone in my family can cook. I don't need to shade anyone in my family, but my dad's mom specifically cooks literally everything from scratch. And so weekends where we, spent the night, homemade biscuits, homemade rolls, chicken fried steak, mashed potato. I mean, you're home cooking, but then you always just make enchiladas, literally everything. I mean, she can make anything and everything, and she always wanted us to be a part of that. So I have many memories of standing on a step stool next to her in the kitchen with a little apron on, and thinking I was really doing something, but all I was really doing is handing her a spoon. But those were definitely memories that you carry with you.
Yeah.
But cooking is just it's an art. It's a very underrated art. I think that my passion for it started whenever I lived on my own and was in college, and I definitely wasn't making anything gourmet in college, but it definitely, I was like, all right, I can either whip up my own stuff or I'm going to be eating out a lot. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, I just started buying my own groceries, obviously, because you have to eat. And then, no one wants to eat the same thing all the time. And I think that, I was like, if I'm going to cook something, I want it to be good. And if I'm going to try to make it somewhat healthy, I want to do the best that I can, explore my options, and do, multiple different variations of your simple chicken or your salmon or your tilapia or your steak or whatever it might be, or even a salad. So it just kind of became kind of a challenge for myself, like, what can I do to make this feel different than the last time I made it? And everyone loves sauce, so I like to make my own homemade sauces to go with things, kind of add a little extra something to it. But aside from just, my parents always cooked and did a really good job at cooking, and we made various different dishes my whole life, so it wasn't the same old. So it was almost like a challenge. It was like, if they can do it, why can't I? And so it was kind of something that I was like, I'm either going to be a good cook or I'm not. And I might as well figure out how to be good at it. And so that's what I've done. And I really enjoy it. I think it's kind of therapeutic after a long day staring at screens. Kind of get to head into the kitchen and do something with what you have in front of you. That's what I like to do.
Did you ever watch like Rachel Ray or Martha Stewart or?
My parents are big Cooking Network people. Like, they watch a lot of that. It's like, I have vivid memories of vacations and hotels. Like, like when you're with your family on vacation or you're in a hotel, and it's like, what are we all going to be able to enjoy?
Especially when you're getting ready and stuff.
Yeah, it's either the Cooking Network or Deadliest Catch.
Yeah,
like, those are like the main two.
Ours was always HGTV.
Yeah. Well, we didn't really watch too much of that, but it is like the same kind of concept. But for sure, because you get ideas and like, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
Same thing with cooking. So yeah, I mean, everyone loves to watch someone take this to this. Kind of like, how can you make it something
process is cool.
delicious? Yeah, the process, and just knowing that like, I did that, and so I think my family always cherished, we did a lot of TV trays growing up, don't get me wrong. It was always like, we had practice or dance or, a football game or a PTA meeting or whatever it might have been, but there were a lot of times it was like, well, you can eat this at this time, I'll eat this, or we'll sit in here with the TV tray, I'll do my homework in here. But it was special to sit down at the dining room table. And my family always prioritized that if we were all four at home at the same time. And even like, I guess, even if we didn't sit at the dining room table, it was always like, if we're going to sit in the living room with TV trays and watch American Idol, because that's the show we like to watch, we're all going to sit in there and eat together at the same time. So I think it's kind of like a congregational thing. Yeah. And so it brings people together at the end of the day. And so if I cook something, I like to enjoy it for myself, but I think that's why I like cooking so much for other people, is because I'm able to share it with someone else. And I think there's a lot of times we're together on weeknights and Camp's like, well, I gotta run this, you can go ahead and do without me. And I know you continue to say that, but at the same time, I spent time on this, I want to share it with you. It's not something I did this just to feed myself. You need the nutrients and you need to feed yourself, you're hungry, let's eat real quick. But at the same time, I want to share that, and it's like, I want to sit down and take the time to, have the meal. It's art, I mean, nothing art about some frozen nuggets. So if you need to make some frozen nuggets, you might as well make some good dip to go with it. And
Them salmon nuggets are different.
they do, and there's nothing wrong with it.
They're different.
But yeah, I mean, you've been a tremendous help to us, the OPM gang. I mean, we can't thank you enough, especially with.
I was gonna say that. I know we. I don't know. Obviously, y'all in the room, but I know and as a group, we don't thank you enough, and it doesn't go unnoticed. I promise.
Yeah.
I think about it all the time. It does not go unnoticed. And I appreciate everything you do, all the late nights you stay up doing it for us. Because at the end of the day, you have to.
I mean, there's been times, bro. Like I'm trying to think. What was that time?
Where you went. Dylan
yeah,
came back.
that's what I'm saying. That day,
1, 2 in the morning. Got to drive to Lubbock the next day, and like. If you were to take the time out of your day to go do that, even though you want to go to sleep because you have to wake up early to leave, like none of it goes unnoticed.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I feel it.
You got all our stuff out and done. Like it's one of those things where I was like, fuck, it's 3 o'clock, I still gotta do this, and then I checked, it was all in there, ready to go, ready to upload it, and then even providing like a place to shoot, keep it a buck, because we do so much stuff in his living room. It's like, all right, we're gonna do something else that's different. We need a different set. We don't have a studio yet, but having you have your own place and have a perfect setting for what Steve wants to do and the content he's starting to produce that's a sacrifice that you have to do, like giving up your home for 1 to 2 hours a week or whatever to shoot that. Is just like we said, it doesn't get unnoticed. Also, shout out to Mr. Kelly Garrett. Love that man. He's amazing. He's a great human. And obviously it translates to your whole family. Everyone's like that. But I mean, for the merch and stuff, that's like how we're getting merch, and we'll talk about that another time probably. But we're getting into the merch. We're getting more business related. You already set us up with like a UPS account. You need to mail those damn boxes. But like you're just doing little stuff that's gonna help us in the long run with building the business. Because me and Carlos, we're obviously still learning how to be perfectionists with content. You'll never be a perfectionist, but we're still learning how to. Now we're really learning how to run a business. Like we've taken time out of our days to sit and talk to people for 3 hours and just learn. Yeah. That's time that if we didn't have you to like maybe do a thumbnail or do a description or get uploads or not have silo, like that's time that we're not losing that time, but we're doing so much now. We have to have a bigger team and more people to outsource stuff to. So can't thank you enough, even for your feedback too. Like that day, me, you, and CJ were just talking about merch, and you were like talking to us about making sure the OP logo is like prominent in like the first couple of drops that we're gonna do, because that's what you want to engrave in people's mind. Like the logo can be basic, but the logo, you make the logo what it is. Like the Optic OG it's a fire logo. Our logo is fire, but that logo wouldn't be fire because of the other stuff they did.
Yeah.
If you see the OG, you know what it is.
Yeah.
You want OP, you see the OP, you know everything that entails.
Yeah.
So I mean, this has been great. One last question, I guess, for me. What are some personal goals for 2023 you want to accomplish?
You just sneeze.
No, just like burps.
Oh. I was gonna say bless you, but.
Regardless.
Yeah. True. I guess it's just like keep going with all of this. I don't want to like limit myself to a certain goal, but I just want to keep cooking and creating. And I think, I don't have these aspirations to, become a next Rachel Ray or anything like that. While that would be fabulous, and there's nothing wrong with that, I enjoy what I do because I'm able to bring people together and like enjoy it with people. So I just want to keep doing that, sharing my recipes, showing people that they can do it themselves, and keep creating various, dishes. So yeah, just keep progressing, and I want to be better this time next year than I was this right now. I guess is a better way to say it. But yeah, and just, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of personal goals I have, but when it comes to that, I don't know, just be better and have more out there. And, maybe this time next year I'll have a website you can click on and,
recipes.
Yeah, you want to make chicken tonight? All right, here's 10 you can choose from.
And that's another thing too, like, we have all the resources, the pieces, like me and Carl talking about the puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
All the people we're meeting, we have everything that makes sense. Like, it
Right.
really makes sense for me to, like, I met you and then met, like, how like, dedicated you are and stuff, and Nick was talking about, like, meeting someone to be, like, you date or that's going to be your lifetime partner or whatever. It's always going to be hard because people don't genuinely understand, like, how much time it's going to take, especially right now, because we're really just trying to, like, build it up. We don't really have the team. We're not making the revenue to pay people or to even pay ourselves.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of sacrifices that are going to be made in the building years, which is what these are. And then obviously, like, learning more about you and then finding out, oh, your dad, like, has a merch business and stuff like that. It's just like, damn, like, all this makes sense, all the little lines, you know? So, like I said, it's been a blessing. Great to have met you and, you know, changed my life, and you're changing everybody else's life, impacting everybody's life, and you're a great presence to be around. I think every time we have everybody over, you're normally the only girl here, and it doesn't seem like that ever, you know? So that's
Pretty sure I can say on behalf of OPM, we all love him.
I love you guys a lot.
Sure, I can say that confidently.
Well, I appreciate that.
Of course.
I wish you guys.
It's kind of it for me. But thank you again for taking the time out of your day, just like everybody else. You
I'm gonna be on this side of it. I'm normally on the other side of the couch.
I like to be on this side.
Clicking the record,
That's
turn
all-
on,
that's another
change
thing
the
that you
batteries.
You like to be on this side?
Yeah, I do.
That's another thing.
Don't ask me over here. I'm
Shout out to that too. Like, all the podcasts, you're always here stopping the camera and watching Toby and doing stuff like, you know, you just do a lot that you don't have to do. You know,
That was the worst part of watching Toby.
Yeah, so.
That sucks, dude.
I think it was easy to do it for you, obviously, as like our relationship progressed. But the more and more I was around your friends, it's so easy to do it for everyone. And now it's not even like a task. It's just like what I want to do and help out. So
I think it's easy for us to have a unique friend group. It's very, very like.
no one's the same.
No one's the same.
That's for damn sure.
and
You guys are a wild group.
Everybody treats everybody the same. As
Yeah.
well. It's very like close knit family oriented.
Yeah.
And that's how we always want it to be. I mean, obviously, we're gonna, you know, in the future, probably stumble along with people that aren't gonna align with us. But
Yeah.
if you're not aligned, then you know it's not gonna work. But
Yeah.
yeah, crazy. Shout out to you. Shout out to the game. You know, let's keep crushing it, and we'll see what happens next year when we touch base on this again.
Yes, ma'am. But again, thank you. Again, I appreciate you. Everything you do for us doesn't go unnoticed ever. I promise. And I'm excited for the future.
Me too.
It's gonna be fun. But all of her stuff will be in the description below. Y'all know she's family. She's been here for a while. She's been rocking with us. Show us some love. No video yet. One will be soon, but we're gonna post her link down in the description as well for her YouTube channel. Go give that a subscribe.
Yeah, go run up the trailer.
Yeah.
We're
Y'all know
pebbling out
the
at
deal.
this point.
Y'all know the deal. Y'all know how we get down with family. Go run it up. But that'll do it for another episode for Boys of Opinionated. We'll catch y'all guys next time. Peace.
Peace.